Well, thank you. I hope you've subscribed. If this is the first of our episodes you're interacting with, there's probably more, close to 30 of these that have been shared. So go look out for them. Subscribe so that you can find them, because they might just add value. I might make references to them, and you don't want to be floating. So just go and listen to all of them, so that then you can be able to really follow our journey, how we are walking through this. And it's about leadership tips. It's about a leadership conversation. It's about tools that you can use to really have conversations at a family level, with your peers, to your team, show it to your people, the people you work with. Say, hey guys, can we watch this together and just see what it means for us? I invite you to try that out. Now, imagine this. You make a mistake. And when you make a mistake, it's like, what's wrong with you? Why could you do that? How many times have I told you to stop that behavior? What's wrong with you? You are and words, names, calling, things that I can't even say here. And you are there in front of people and you are being bashed. And some of you probably remember a situation like that, where you are just bashed in front of people. And everybody was still looking at you, being called names and being said, how can you do this? This is below standards. How did you even get hired here? And you're left there wondering, oh my God, how do I respond to that? Maybe you've experienced something like that, where you are called out instead of being called up. And the tool we have today is a tool asking us to call people up, not out. Now, it's a word play here. And of course, you've had people who say, we'll just call it out. We'll call him out. We'll call him out. And it's easy to call someone out. And of course, it's a mindset thing. And you'll be wondering, when I call someone out, I'm simply pointing their mistakes. Yeah, you're simply pointing their mistakes. But to what end are you pointing their mistake? What's your intention of pointing their mistake? So the first time I experienced this calling up, not out, it kind of I needed some rewiring in my head to start saying, so I need to reframe how I engage with someone if they do a mistake. And my children, if my child breaks something or makes a mistake, I can either call him out or call him up. Now, when we call people out, it's like we're embarrassing them. We are pointing at their mistake. We are focusing on what they've done wrong. We are making them look bad. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of what's wrong with you? How can you do this again? Dan, you're doing all this. And everybody look at him, what he has done. And you're like, maybe you've never done it that way, or maybe it has never been done for you that way. But the way it was done, you felt embarrassed. You felt like the leader was against you. You felt like they're just for themselves. They're just out to make themselves look good and make you look bad. You felt like your mistake was put on the screen for everybody to see how messed up you did, how messed up you are. And you left there feeling little and insignificant. So, when someone calls you out, what you experience, or when you call people out, what they experience is that you're against them and that you're for yourself. They feel embarrassed. They feel they are not good enough. They feel they are not there. They don't even need to be there. They feel like, oh my God. Imagine calling your child out, your teenage kid out. Call them out and embarrass them. And they're like, what's wrong with you? And so you go on and on. And how about if you call people up? And what would that look like to call people up? And when you call someone up, you remind them of their potential. You remind them of their commitment. You remind them of what they signed up for. You remind them of and again, you can't remind people of what you've not done, of what you've not had a conversation with them. So maybe, for example, you've had a conversation with your child, it is not okay to do X, Y, Z. And they agreed, yes, I agree. It's not okay to do X, Y, Z. It's not okay to fight someone. It's not okay to fight someone. It's wrong to fight someone. Maybe that's what you've had a conversation with them about. So when they find themselves in a fight, what you do is you call them up to that commitment. Hey, do you remember we talked about this? What do you think? You're playing below. You're supposed to be playing here. You're supposed to be keeping this commitment we agreed on. But when you keep fighting and you keep doing all that, you keep playing below what we agreed on. And of course, occasionally there might be consequences to that. But let that consequences be informed with a mindset that you're really calling them up, not calling them out. And so calling people out is so dangerous to their growth. So you need to ask yourself, what can I do to always call people up? How can I catch myself so instead of calling people out, I call them up? Now, this is high level of intentionality. And sometimes it might look like, no, but won't we be letting people not go or get away with their mistakes? No, you're not letting people get away with their mistakes. What you're doing is you are not embarrassing them when they do their mistakes. You are not making them feel like you don't care about them and you're against them. The most powerful quote that probably some people have heard me say is, he who has the truth must also have care. And this is a quote by Mahatma Gandhi. If you have the truth, if someone has made a mistake and you know they are wrong and you want to tell them the truth, you also need to care. And that's how you will help them grow. So when you call someone up, you're helping them, you're pointing them to a place of growth. You're pointing them, hey, you're supposed to be here, not here. You're supposed to be up here. You're supposed to be appreciating what we talked about. You're supposed to be living up to the standards we agreed on. You're supposed to be. But you know when you operate here, it's not going to come out well and there are consequences to that. So can you be able to rise up and operate here? Now, this might look simplistic and you're wondering, no, this probably is not realistic. But it's very realistic. And I've tried it before. I've tried it with my children. I've tried it in different scenarios where instead of highlighting and pointing and calling you out and making someone look insignificant and making someone feel like I'm against them, I reminded them of what we agreed on, and I reminded them of where they belong and where they need to be operating at. And then they see themselves as not just because now I expect more from them, I expect them to keep up, to keep their game up, and all of a sudden, people want to shine. People want to rise up because you're calling them up. You're reminding them of what they need to do. You're reminding them of their commitment. You're reminding them of whatever they signed up for, instead of embarrassing them in front of people. And so, I challenge you to try this. Try it with someone. Try it with your friends. If your friend has wronged you, try it with them and just say, hey, you know, in our friendship, here's what we agreed on. Didn't we agree that we were supposed to be keeping time? Didn't we agree that we were supposed to be doing this and this? And call them up to timekeeping. Call them up to responsibility. Call them up to respect. Call them up to the values they agreed on. Call them up. Call them up and call them up repeatedly and repeatedly. It might not work the first time, but keep at it. Keep at it. Because when there's a lot of positivity and positive energy and that positive vibe and that positive affirmation and that acknowledgement that we are all growing and we're all human and we're all going to make mistakes, but we all want to be the best version of ourselves. We all want to be great in our capacities. So it doesn't help then to make someone feel embarrassed for probably failing to live up to a particular standard. It then helps just to remind them. Of course, there might be consequences that they have to face, but they will face knowing and appreciating, yeah, it was my fault. It was my fault, so I'm ready for the consequences, but I know I needed support. I needed to operate at that level, but I operated below the level that is expected of me. So, simple tool, very simple tool, but very powerful. And it's a mindset that you need as a leader. To always calling people up, not out. Being for people, not against them. Fighting for the highest possible good of those you lead, not just fighting for your highest possible good, but being able to fight for the highest possible good of everybody you're walking a journey with, or everybody you get to interact with. I don't know what this means for you. I don't know whether you're like, no, Gabriel, that looks to me like you're just telling people not to really be tough and firm. But try it out. Let's talk about it. Try it out. And let me see how that goes. Subscribe if this has added value to you. Subscribe if this helps you. And see you next time. Thank you. What does it look like to fight for the highest possible good of this person who needs my help, or of this person who I've annoyed, or of this person who I'm dealing with? What does fighting for the highest possible good look like? I don't know what your battles are, but maybe you need help with how to be a liberator, how to fight for the highest possible good of those you lead, how to develop that mindset of a liberator, how to develop that leader mindset where you can really, really be able to fight for the highest possible good of those you lead. And remember, I said love is what is defined as fighting for the highest possible good of everybody around you. Your neighbor, your children, your parents, your siblings, your spouse, your co-workers, your team members, your organization, your community, and all that. That's love. When you fight for the highest possible good of those around you, you demonstrate love. So go fight for the highest possible good of those you lead, and try this tool out and see where it fits for you. Thank you very much for listening and watching. Please go ahead and subscribe for more of such. Thank you.